A lot is being made of the notion that Serraj might resign, but it's important to note that this was always expected. Serraj was never expected to last and to stay in power in Libya. The government of national accord was a stopgap. It was designed to be a transitional body that would govern Libya and guide Libya towards elections whereby the likes of Serraj and the others would step aside. So the idea that he would resign now in the midst of this ceasefire, the Geneva talks taking place, this sudden optimism that maybe talks might actually be taken seriously this time makes perfect sense. There is a suggestion that Turkey is concerned about its contracts with Libya and that Serraj resigning will mean that suddenly these contracts might be reversed. But it's important to understand that Turkey always knew that Serraj was going to go and that the dynamics might change. And this is why it was so aggressive and so assertive in accelerating the implementation of the contracts that it signed in Libya, whether that's with regards to the Al Watia air base, whether that's with regards to the Misrata naval base, whether that's in its currency swap with the central bank, whether that's in sending Turkish companies to bid for infrastructure projects. Turkey always knew that the situation was fluid and it might change. And this is why it sent Ibrahim Kalin, Berat al-Bayrak and the defense minister, and it sent all of its political heavyweights. Because Turkey is under no illusion over how the GNA works. Turkey is well aware that GNA is a composition of militias that compete and jostle with one another, that only united against Haftar because they realize that if Haftar takes Tripoli, they would all be sidelined altogether. And that prior to Haftar arriving to the gates of Tripoli, they were very much content with their own fiefdoms and their own territories and undermining the GNA authority. And it is within this context that accusations have emerged that Turkey is aligning with Misrata because they have the Misrata naval base and that they're relying on the Misrata militia. The problem with the GNA as an institution is that because it is so divided, because the militias cannot agree, because it is so disunited and they only unite when they're on the verge of being eliminated, that leaves space for the likes of France, for the likes of the US, for the likes of even the UAE, Egypt and the like, to lobby some of these individual militias who are willing to ally with foreign powers in order to secure an advantage over their competitors, in order to secure an advantage over each other. And this is why Turkey, when it's accused of supporting Misrata over another militia, it's within this context that these accusations arise. Serraj is expected to stay on as a caretaker prime minister. And it is under this state of government that we will see foreign powers start to woo some of these individual militias, individual groups, try to establish their own individual proxies in order to assert themselves against one another. They will seek to capitalize on the disunity, capitalize on the desire of the militias to outdo one another. But there is a dynamic that nobody is able to control, and that is the protest and the people taking to the streets, whether that's in Tripoli or whether that's in the east in Haftar-controlled territory. The people are becoming increasingly tired of war, and there is a growing narrative within Libya that this civil war is quite simply a war between the political elite that is taking place at the expense of the ordinary Libyan.